Welcome in, everybody. Just sit tight. We'll get going here in just a few minutes. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos, broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. Want to welcome you guys all back for another dive into Abby and Libby's case, also known as the Delphi murders. Want to welcome in She Warrior, Cindy, Jill Moser, True Crime Housewife, Timmy Waring, what's up? Shane, Mustang, Jill Moser, Bonnie Bailey, welcome. Beth, good to see you. The Royal We, Cindy Lean, Dave G, The Royal We, Homie Don't Play That. We'll catch you later. Hope you have a great day at work. Molly. Welcome in, everybody. Been kind of quiet around the Delphi case, huh? What do you guys think that's all about? Was going through my case, the Indiana my case, and looked up Richard Allen's case information. And we've gone 8 days now with no activity. This is the first time that's happened. And we have 24 days until trial. 8 days of zero activity. Last time we seen anything filed was on September 12th. Has everything been done as far as the pretrial stuff that can be done from Richard Allen's defense team? Have they exhausted all of their efforts? I don't think they have any more delay tactics available. And from this day, it seems things have changed, at least for Richard Allen. I feel like he's ready to steer his defense team in a new direction. Now, they could just be preparing for trial, right? They spent a whole lot of time on third party suspects. Maybe they're starting to kind of focus in on what they plan to do during trial. I personally believe Richard Allen is weighing his options. Think about it, guys. He was arrested October of 2022. It was almost 2 years ago. If this man was innocent, he would have pushed, in my opinion, for a speedy trial. On paper, they tried to make it appear that way, but we all know that that's not what happened. Here we sit 2 years later, still no trial. We should have had a conviction and him almost a year in prison by now. So we titled today's live stream The Calm Before the Storm. Because either way you look at it, it's about to hit the fan. So today's the 20th. Start of trial will be October 14th. 24 days from today. I just don't see it happening. But that's just my opinion, and I'm okay, if I'm wrong. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'm just telling you what I see from where I'm sitting. Silas, good to see you. TJ says, I'd still be absolutely floored if they took this to trial. But as we keep getting closer, it's starting to feel more real. Imagine how it feels for Richard Allen if he's a guilty man. Imagine how real it's feeling to him. I think I have a pretty good idea of what's going on through this guy's mind just by looking at everything that's gone on, what I believe happened at the crime scene, his motivation, why he did what he did, the series of bad decisions from somebody who I believe is a psychopath. I believe we're looking at a sexually motivated crime, somebody with impulse control issues, taking that smile now, cry later approach. Well, this is what I want to do. Once I do that, I'll figure it out from there. To me, the crime scene is easily explained by one bad decision after the next, caused by that impulse, a compulsion, and possibly a series of events leading up to that day, right? The 13th, maybe even the day of the 12th. I believe the 13th was a continuation of tornado Richard Allen, right? And everything that was in his path ended up at that point on that bridge, giving the perception of a pre-planned crime. The way he was dressed, I think he was just he was living in chaos. Once he committed the crime, he couldn't handle the idea of being caught. I don't think he was afraid of being caught or going to jail. I think it was more about losing his family. We don't see a whole lot going on social media with Richard Allen. Any photographs that we really have of him, are with his wife. It's like she kept him, under her wing, maybe even for a long period of time since high school. It's all he has. And I think that's what motivated him to kill the girls. And I also believe that's what's motivating him now. But remember, once they go into that courtroom for trial, he doesn't have any, he loses control. People who suffer from psychopathy, that's the last thing that they want, is to lose control. The only control he has now is to make a deal. All he has to do is raise his hand. And he's in control of that. But I just do not see this man looking, after explaining all of that, going through a trial process where he has to turn around and look at his wife and possibly his daughter at that point, because he doesn't care about the victims' families. All he cares about is his mother, his wife, and his daughter. That's it. And I believe that's the reason that he killed those girls. He killed Abby and Libby to keep this secret. The man he is in his mind spilled out into the real world. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde scenario. In his mind, he's fantasizing about murder, sexual assault, kidnappings, violent crimes. But on the outside, he's just going through the motions. Going to work, telling his daughter, have a great day, maybe a kiss on the cheek, I love you, kisses the wife, goes to work, lays low at work, but when he's alone and in his own mind, it's pure chaos. Now, these are all just my theories, of course, and what the hell do I know? But that's the way I see it. From everything that I've gathered, what's going on in Richard Allen's head spilled out into the real world on February the 13th. That's his secret place. Nobody knows that side of him. And he'll be damned if anybody finds out now. And he didn't care about Abby and Libby, or he wouldn't have done what he did to begin with. But he does care about mom, wife, and daughter. That's all he cares about. What's up, Jerk? Candice Fonseca, welcome in. So my only question is, what is going on? Is Richard Allen planning to take a deal to change his plea? Or are they hunkering down in a war room type scenario and coming up with a plan for trial? What do you guys think? Stalled negotiations or frantically negotiating or prepping for trial takes long hours. Can it be done in 24 days? Now, what I'm expecting, this is the sleuth forecast, is we'll see another status hearing, and that will be followed by a change of plea. And then we're going to see that Richard Allen took a deal at that point. What that entails, I don't know. But I'm sure that they'll go ahead and meet with the families, let them know, like, This is our intentions. This is the deal we're planning to offer. They don't need permission from the family. I've just noticed in most cases that they do talk with the family and kind of get their opinion on the matter. And even the judge could just overrule all of that and make her own decisions. But I do know that they will consult with the family and let them know, hey, this is what's going on. We're working out a deal, plea bargain, if you will. We're thinking about offering him 50 years. They might say something like, well, we just want this to be over with. We like to get on with our lives. Dave G says, I think there will be no trial. That's where I'm at. I don't see Richard Allen taking his family into the deep waters of his fears. His ultimate fears, what caused him to kill Abby and Libby, what caused him to delay the trial, everything will then be realized at the trial. His worst fears will become reality. I just don't see him doing that. I feel like we're dealing with a real coward here. Hey, Copper, welcome in. Anything I like, welcome. And if Richard Allen is guilty of killing Abby and Libby, he's had so many different confidence boosters. Every time they mention somebody like Daniel Nations, um, any of these other suspects, especially when they arrested Ron Logan and they had that perp walk all over the news, they were searching. Every search warrant made him happy. Like, look at these idiots. I outsmarted them again. I've been here under your nose this entire time. I'm so smart. Nobody knows who I really am. I think they can sway at least one juror. I don't know how. I just don't know how they combat the timeline. This, is it credit for time served, day for day, or is it 1.5 times day credit? I don't know. It's not like he's getting a 5-year sentence. And I don't think they'll give him any type of a deal like that. I know they do give some folks that. Molly, trial starts in less than a month, right? October 14th. Isn't that Columbus Indigenous Persons Day? Maybe he wants to take a shot at acquittal or mistrial. I don't know. I think it's too late for that. They were hopeful on that. That's what all these delays were about, trying to get him off on some kind of a technicality. Phoenix, welcome in. So, what's the storm if the trial doesn't happen next month? Maybe this is the calm before the wait another year. If it is, what would be the stall tactic? What could cause that? And why haven't we seen it yet? September Sapphire. This trial will never happen. It'll be postponed again and again for years. What makes you think that? And how is that possible? What options do they have left to delay the trial? I think Richard Allen would have to do something very drastic, something like self-harm, and that's only going to delay it for what, 3 weeks? Not sure how long it takes to find somebody competent to stand trial. Is the prosecutor allowed to bring up K? Oh, KK and TK, even though the defense can't? No. The only reason the defense can't is because the prosecution has no intent on discussing that. They don't want to distract anybody. They don't want to distract the trial and take up all this time talking about things that aren't even relevant to their case. Right now, it's all about their timeline. Everything is surrounding Richard Allen. And if there's any news or anybody else involved, they're hoping that Richard Allen will explain that part. They'll leave it up to him. Hey, Miss Dog Lover. Is there any chance the trial could be delayed? That's what I'm wondering. Is that what they're working on? And if they're going to delay it, what for? What do they hope? What would they gain in another delay? Good to see you, Scarlett. Welcome in, GP. Julia says the justice system is so messed up, but I can't imagine there is a fix. Cases aren't a one size fits all, so I understand there are certain rules must be enforced that won't always result in justice. Well, honestly, justice is a rare thing. And I do believe it's better to let a guilty man go free than it is to imprison an innocent man. I am a firm believer in that. But you can't get carried away either, right? TJ, yeah, that's got to be frustrating. It's got to suck really bad knowing you basically caught yourself. But think about it. If he wouldn't have come forward, they would have just come looking for him. So in his mind, the situation he's in as far as buying himself time, being able to for them not to prove 100% that he's the guy, right? He took those measures. As far as the DNA, I believe that explains why he was with the body so long. He took steps to try to clean his DNA away. Him being proactive and coming forward is not unusual. We've done multiple live streams going over cases where killers have tipped in or come forward. They do it to glean information and to control the narrative and also to appear as an innocent person. It's better to be a witness than a suspect. So this is not rare, you know. Even though it sounds really strange, like, why would a guilty person come forward? Well, I don't know. Why would they commit these murders? Disorganized killers always feel the urge to come back and correct their mistakes. We've said it for years now. The same thing that causes them to become killers will be the same thing that gets them caught in the end. They think they're smart when they're really not. Yeah, Timmy says a lot of those types kill the victim for fear of getting caught. And it's my understanding that one of his confessions, he talks about that. It may have even been when he was talking to Dr. Walla. Told her it was sexually motivated and he killed the girls because he did not want to get caught. That's what I heard. Yeah, that's kind of what we're discussing today. Scarlett says, I just can't believe how quiet the docket has been with trial approaching. We're not trying to poke, the Delphi case. Do something. I think it's a good question. You have a case that from the moment that Richard Allen was arrested, they haven't gone 8 days without any kind of activity. I mean, it is a ghost town right now. She Warrior, what's up? Sleuth, do you think maybe Richard Allen might have had contact with Libby and Abby on the 12th? I think it's possible. I think it is possible, but I haven't seen anything solid. And he really doesn't need to. I just think that he was up to something on the 12th. That night, I don't think he ever went home. Whether that's he was riding a high, maybe, whether alcohol, some kind of drugs. It may have just been a continuation. Sleuth, yes, psychopath, losing control. Makes me think of famous picture of Bundy at trial, representing himself, I think. In pure rage, monster look, the trial Ted. If you know the pic, I mean. Yeah, and I think that was his ego, right? And also his way to torment the witnesses, to relive the crimes. I mean, Ted Bundy was. I mean, the mind can't even comprehend how evil he was. People like him and the Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway. I mean, we're talking about people who killed over 80 women. The mind won't even allow you to begin to fathom that. I mean, if just try to wrap your head around that. Hather's Mirror, what's up? Nice. I'm glad you like it. I hope it fits well. And congrats to all you winners. And anybody receiving their merch overseas, you should be getting it very soon. I know two have verified that they received their shirts. I think one is waiting on a hat. And then we have a shirt going overseas. So that might take a little bit. But I'm glad that you like it. Yeah, Jeremy, too. I wish he would have kept that secret to himself. The world did not need to know about it, especially Abby and Libby. What up? No effects. No cares for the girls or their families, only his. Only himself and his direct family. And the only reason he even cares, in my opinion, about his family is because he only cares about how their opinion, what their opinion of him is. Everything boils down to selfish motivation. Welcome in, caricature. Julie says, I think there will be a trial, although he is a coward son of a bitch, so who knows? And also, I believe that if it does go to trial, despite what Judge Gold has said up until now, I believe it will be televised. If this makes it to trial and all of the pre-trial stuff is out of here, she will allow it to be televised. Hey, Cindy Sleuth, I feel like this might go to trial, not because of Richard Allen, not because his attorneys want to show about for publicity. I really mean that. Oh, because his attorneys do want to show. I think they've gotten enough. I think it would be in their best interest as well if Richard Allen took a plea bargain. Hey, Pipers, I don't think he will. I don't think he will go with the trial, although I'm hoping he just admits it. Yeah, officially. I know personally I wouldn't put my family through it, but we're talking his life. You kind of have to roll the dice. Yeah, but if he's this psycho killer, he needs to be in the driver's seat. The only way for him to gain control now is to kind of open those doors to some kind of a negotiation. And I believe that the prosecution, their greatest fear is the appeal process. Having to redo all this again, um, having to put Indiana and the victims through all of this again. So their motivation would be to ask Richard Allen to waive his right to an appeal. If you waive your right to an appeal, we'll give you 40 years. Something like that. You won't have to say what you did. And you won't have to drag your family through this. Because as long as he says he's innocent, as a wife, daughter, mother, you just have an instinct to kind of be there for your family. Like if he says he's innocent, I got to believe him. But the moment he sits down on a video and it's videotaped and he sits down with investigators and he writes down his statement and it's video recorded and he's giving information that only the killer would know that wasn't revealed to him in any of these filings, that's when it's real. And that's what this photograph right here reminds me of. It's like he's already made the decision. He's just pondering on how to do it, how to execute his plan. I mean, what's he got in his hand there? He's got his glasses on. Doesn't even appear to have a shock vest on. Smiling, talking with the sheriff's office. He's out of prison. He's in county jail now. Something's different. And then now we have 8 days of silence. What's up, Anna Melodies? Audra Kessler, welcome in. Kelly O, what's up? I don't think we've seen it yet because his lawyers won't let him plea. More money and fame, I say with a laugh. GP says, in my opinion, I still don't think that there's going to be a trial. I don't think so either. Richard Allen has one more card to play to remain in control, and that's to just lift up his hand and say, hey, make me an offer. Good to see you, Dr. Von Decay. Mary E., welcome in. Ziggy, welcome in. Stacy Skinner, welcome in. Kitty Cat. Richard Allen's lawyers and internet cranks are tweeting cryptic messages. What do you mean cryptic? Like what? What's up, War Kittens? I appreciate you. Like something going to come down, like another go at Indiana Supreme Court. Thanks, Farmer. Appreciate the super sticker. Thank you for sponsoring today's live stream. Thank you so much. Farmer has landed with a splash. Purple Haze, welcome in. Mary E says he has waited this long for a reason. If he wanted to take a plea bargain, he could have done so already. He is hoping for that one juror who has doubts. Well, I disagree, Mary. If his defense team has all these cards to play, right? All these delay tactics, why would he? If they can delay the inevitable, there's no reason for him to take a deal. There's still a chance that they find issues within the investigation, violations of his rights, trying to get him off on a technicality. They got to run that, until that's exhausted. The third party suspects or alternate suspects, they got to ride that until the wheels fall off. And I feel like that's all been done. And now it's just quiet. All the pre-trial shenanigans are over with. Now we just have this calm before the storm. So if there are no delay tactics left in the box, there's nothing else for Richard Allen to do to delay the inevitable. Because during the trial, they're going to expose him as a killer. They're only going to do it in great detail. And they're going to drag his family through the mud during the entire process. So why not take control, which is what psychopaths love to do. And whoever killed these girls is most likely a psychopath. Anybody willing to kill to hide a sexual assault is a complete psycho. So if we can all agree on that, we also know psychopaths love control. That's the reason that they become chameleons, manipulators, hiding in plain sight. They're in total control over everything that surrounds them. Sometimes even empaths, they can read the room. So the only time, in my opinion, he's going to take a plea deal is when there's nothing else. When he has two options, you take a deal or you go through trial and you're exposed in great detail. I believe he's going to say, well, I would rather be exposed with no detail and with me in control, or at least me at the table with some kind of control. The only way to do that is with the plea deal. If he goes to trial, he's at the mercy. He's at the mercy of the court, his defense team, prosecution, and Judge Gold. Molly says, I agree. She'll televise the trial, may increase the attention, but for people to be able to see and hear it, may reduce bias and conspiracies, etc. War Kitten, I can't imagine the stress the families must be enduring as the trial gets closer. That's also motivation for the prosecution. If they've had enough and they would like to close the books and get on with their lives and start to honor the memory of Abby and Libby, That process hasn't even begun yet. They haven't even had a chance to really mourn. They've been on hunt mode for so long and they've hunted and they've captured their guy. And now they're just dealing with all this bullshit. Now, if they can make a deal with Richard Allen to where he faces like 40 years in prison, that's the rest of his life. No possibility of parole. I think they can begin to heal. Jer says if he waives the appeal, that would be absolutely huge. Yep, that would be the end if they do it right. If they don't leave open any loopholes or any confusion at all, it'll stick. There will be no appeal. Richard Allen will go and do his time, and they will close the books. And I don't know if you could ever have justice in a murder of 2 children, but I think you'll have some peace for the victims' families. Some peace, not a lot, but it's more of like a reckoning. Good to see you, Sparky. What's up, Big Fish? Says he isn't in hell anymore. Are you referring to this photo? This is before they took him out of quote unquote hell. And the reason they had him in hell was because he was making threats on his own life. County is the most dangerous place for a person facing charges like that. Not because other people are going to get to them, because they can get to themselves. So he could have been anticipating the transfer. But why is he holding these documents? Why does he have glasses on his head? I don't see any shock vest. Something is different here. Something is different. Yeah, exactly, Farmer. Why what? He should just plead guilty if it means that much to him. I think he will. When his only 2 options left are to take a deal or go to trial, I believe he will take a plea bargain. Yes, I do, Stacy. I think we'll see a status hearing and then we'll see a change of plea in the same day. Probably by, if I had to guess, I would say by next Friday. So before the 27th, I think we'll have our answer. Purple Haze says, I think he had some nerve to offer his Bible to the Patties. I wouldn't want it if it was me. I don't know. Forgiveness is a very powerful thing. And if he believes that God has forgiven him, he's probably wondering why they can't. But you'd have to ask yourself, what does he need forgiveness for? Now that he's out of quote unquote POW, his POW prisoner of war situation, does he still need God, or was that his coping mechanism? He made a statement about seeing his family in heaven. I may not be able to see him again in this life or be with them in this life, but in the afterlife, there's a possibility. But why, if he's an innocent man, why wouldn't he be with his family? He's being falsely accused. He doesn't need God for that. He should already have God, and he should already be going to heaven because he's lived this perfect life. But honestly, if he is a killer of Abby, if he's the killer of Abby and Libby, and he was able to hide away a lot of the evidence, it makes you wonder if he's done crimes like this before and he just got sloppy. Andy Kane, what's up? Believing Richard Allen is innocent is like believing a man can cut off his wang and be a woman, or vice versa. These crazy folks. What's up, Sleuth? Hope all is well, bud. Oh, shit. Thank you, Jer. That was very generous of you. Danny B. Welcome to the Sleuth Crew. Maybe they're just gearing up for the trial. Yeah, that was one of the first things I asked at the beginning of the stream. Is that what you think they're doing? No more third-party suspects. They got to deal with these confessions. Are they just prepping? Somebody threw out there, we might see something involving the Supreme Court again. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think when it happened the first time, it was necessary. Kind of fit the bill to why we have a Supreme Court to begin with for those exact situations. No Effect says, sadly, I think the trial will happen, but I do think it's coming. But I do think it's coming next month. So you don't think it'll be delayed? So trial is scheduled for 24 days from today. We've had 8 solid days of nothing, no activity. That's never happened since Richard Allen was arrested. I think the longest we've gone was 7 days, and that was last year. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up here. Oh, that sounds nice. We're getting cooler weather here in Phoenix, finally. Kitty Cat, 8 days quiet, and then the video dropped last night from the domain. What's that got to do with the other? Shane says, if there is a trial, do you think he'll take the stand, Sleuth? I can't see it. I don't know. That's a good question. For some reason, I feel like it would benefit Richard Allen. because our imaginations can run wild. And he seems to have the ability, if he's guilty, to manipulate, to kind of read the room, feel the energies that are filled up in that room. So I don't know. It's a good question. He probably shouldn't, but I feel like with him, he might. He might be arrogant enough. Welcome in, Audra Kessler. Thank you so much, Sparky. Shout out to Farmer, Jur, Danny B, Audra, and Sparky for sponsoring today's live stream. Thank you, guys. Maybe he's grandiose enough to think he can influence the jury. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Molly. I think that's has been his approach this entire time. He committed the crime and he thought I could still get away with this. What do I have to do? Well, I need to do these series of things. Okay. Now that I'm out of the crime scene and I'm home, now what do I need to do to get away with this crime? Okay. And then he takes those next steps. I need to come forward because I know that there was witnesses that seen me there. So I need to come forward or else. I think he's still taking that approach. Thinking that he's smart enough as long as he kind of takes the reins, takes control of the narrative, he'll have a chance. So I agree with you on that. Use his Jedi mind control. I just don't think it'll work for him. But I do see him making that decision for those same reasons. Hey, Olivia. I don't know. I think he would. Should he? Of course not. But him, I think he would. Hey, Anna. I think the Delphi offender felt entitled to something from the girls. In my opinion, he will rationalize the ending, not his fault, blame victims. Yep. If they wouldn't have done what they did, I wouldn't have had to do what I did. We hear that time and time again in these types of cases, especially with serial killers. It's always the victim's fault. Um, we hear in a lot of cases, oh, well, she made fun of me because I couldn't get an erection or something like that. If she wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have had to kill her, Or she tried to steal from me. As if, somebody stealing from you elicits a murder. Thank you, Audra. Well, if he takes the deal, Farmer, I don't think it will all come out. I don't even know if his statement will be made public. It'll probably be shared with the family, but I don't know if something like that would be made public. But he's definitely going to have to offer up something significant, some details. As much as these investigators know, I believe they still have some pieces that are missing. They haven't had a chance to mourn, especially with the craziness that has surrounded the case and perpetuated by the defense tactics. From what I've gathered, War Kittens, I believe they've been prepping for this. They tried to tell us, like, hey, we're only halfway up the hill. The other half is through the trial process. So I think they've been kind of preparing for this. a lot longer than we have, from the outside looking in. They learned early on to be patient and not to jump all over what the media puts out there. Well, he definitely wouldn't do that in the trial, Shane, but if he was going to confess, he would probably do that in some type of a confession. Oops, Sparky with the 17-month flex. Thanks, Sparky. This crew is the best. I love seeing Sleuth and his mission grow more and more every day. Couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you. Stephanie, welcome in. So there was a good timeline put out by News Nation a couple months back, and I just kind of added some photos to it, but we can go through it if you guys want to. Appreciate it. Thank you, Sparky. Hey, Sandollar. Well, we have this preconceived notion about who he is. Right now he's a killer. But I've covered cases where the same stigma surrounded suspects and then they went through the court process. It was proven that they were innocent, and then that stigma is lifted. Like when you look at their photographs of them, you're no longer enraged. You no longer see a savage killer. You now see somebody who was victimized. If anything, if that was to change for Richard Allen, it would be the same. He would be welcomed back into the community. The only thing with Richard Allen is he's avoided a speedy trial, which is one of the things you do as an innocent person. You don't want to give your accusers time to build up some grandiose tale of you being a monster. No. You're going to push for a speedy trial and you're going to say, if I'm guilty, you need to prove it. Let's go. Let's hear why I'm guilty when I know that I'm not. You're almost anxious. I can't wait, to tell the courtroom and prove, how you guys traumatized me, ruined my reputation. You would be very anxious for that. Yeah, I guess we try to stay away from the hive mind. This is like the hive mind recovery center. We're just glad you made it out. Welcome in, Zuzu Petals. Frank Meister, welcome. Anna says the hiding in plain sight thing can best be explained if the offender rationalized any involvement. Didn't happen. Accident, bad dream. Well, really, a psychopath, they just don't care. They don't need to rationalize anything. They go home and they sleep next to their wife and they wake up and they cook breakfast and make coffee like they did the day before. Really is no need to rationalize it. But people who really feel remorse, they might have to try to hide in plain sight. But for a psychopath, They've been hiding in plain sight since they were a little kid. The first time they tried to torture an animal in front of all their little friends, or they were trying to start some type of fire. So they've been hiding in plain sight since then. So to them, it's nothing new. People are just things. So when they hurt people, doesn't matter. It's just like breaking a toy or um, throwing away trash or something. Could be Olivia. I mean, he really was hiding in plain sight. He even came forward, called the tip line. I don't know. No effects. I wonder if right now we could get our hands on that. Freedom of information might be, we might be able to get that actually. I don't know what the rules are, for an ongoing trial or an open investigation. Yeah, they made fun of him. Then he goes on to murder and kidnap more victims. Yeah, it's their way of rationalizing it, I guess. Rifkin said he would kill prostitutes, and in his mind, he created this image of disease infested vermin, is what he called them. He was doing us a favor. Same with Gary Ridgway. He said the same thing. They felt like they convinced themselves that they were doing us a favor. And I guess you can call that the Dexter effect. Your chat stopped working? Yeah, YouTube can get a little glitchy. How can a 45-year-old man blame it on two children he kidnapped? They were young enough to be his grandchildren. Well, he's probably very immature himself for to have that view. Audra, yes, we do have a Discord. If you would like to enter, shoot me an email and I'll give you a personalized link. Yeah, that's a good example, no effects. So it's really easy to do a FOIA request with Indiana. You can do it like through an email. You don't need to fill out any like crazy documentation. You just got to know where to send it. And they'll respond to you. Usually takes about 30 days. What's up, Phil? Welcome in. Good to see you. Yep, and they got to prove he's the killer, either through that trial or by him admitting it. Thank you, Shane. If you need the email, there it is. Appreciate you, Shane. No, that's Joel Rifkin out of New York. Serial killer. He's one of those guys who said that he killed near water because he used it to get rid of it to hide evidence. So I think we'll go through this timeline a different time. Libby German and Abby Williams vanished. Delphi suspect Richard Allen arrested. Yeah, there's a lot of information here we just don't have time to go over, and I don't want to get sidetracked here. Maybe we'll take a look at that tomorrow morning. Yeah, emotionally. You got it, Audra. I'll look forward to your email. Me neither, Jer. You're not alone. I like Seinfeld. Yeah, well, we need to prove he's a killer first. Right now, we have the timeline, his own admissions, and the bullet, which is enough to convict him, for sure. Yeah, that's a good point, Anna. I wish that was the case with these defense attorneys, right? But we know that that's not the case. They've been distracted. That timeline was put up by News Nation. It should be pretty easy to find. I added all these photos, so you're not going to see those. I kind of attached photos that were relevant. And I think this will be good for us to go over tomorrow. Yeah, I agree with that, Sand Dollar. All right, guys. I guess we're all caught up on the chat. I'm assuming everybody has said their piece. And I'm pretty sure we're going to meet again at this time tomorrow. We'll go over this timeline. It's pretty good. It's very strange to read this entire timeline and then all of a sudden we have this quiet time. It just really makes you wonder what the hell is going on. So if you guys haven't participated in the poll, please do so now. Question is, will we see a trial? 47% said yes, 27 said no, 27 said not sure. Thank you, Mustang. Shout out to Farmer. Jer, very generous of you. Thank you. Welcome back, Danny. Welcome to the Sleuth Crew, Audra. Sparky, thank you so much. Thank you for that flex. It's a nice big flex there. And Ziggy. You guys make this possible. Yeah, we'll spend a good hour on that timeline because I think we are coming to a conclusion. I think it'd be good to go through the timeline in detail. But there's a lot missing there. And I kind of rushed it. What's up, Thin Mint? Well, I hope everything's going good with you. Thank you, Sparky. Thank you, Mary E. If you guys could hit the like button on the way out, share the video on social media. And if you are part of that replay crew, drop me a comment. Let me know what you thought about today's live stream. We'll go ahead and close out the poll. Thank you, Jer. We are locked in. Ellen Greenberg, yes, I do follow that case. I have a lot of content put together. Remember, everything I do is on instinct, and when the timing feels right, that's usually when you see certain live streams pop up. Nothing's forced. If I'm investigating something or digging into something, that's when I go live on those topics or those subjects. Yeah, could be. Hey, Jari. Roxy, welcome in. I will send $1. I don't know, Jer. Maybe. Why don't you send it to me again? All right, guys. I will see you again very soon. I do have a quick check-in plan for a little bit later today. If I'm able to clear my schedule, or if I don't have anything going on with the family, I'll meet with you guys and we can talk about all these other cases that you want to talk about, and we can even dive deeper into Abby and Libby's case. Thank you, Shane. All right, guys, you take care. Have a safe Friday. If things work out, I'll see you again later tonight. But otherwise, take care of yourselves. Peace out.